Hey guys, welcome to the channel. This is Dad Who Does. Today we're going to take apart the throttle body off of this 2011 Compass. We've been throwing codes U1407, U1424, and U1425. In the dash we've seen the electronic throttle control symbol come up. It looks like two half moons with a lightning bolt in the middle. And in addition, it's the traction control light has been coming on. So we did a little research, and I believe this is the problem that the car is experiencing. It goes into a limp mode where the car will not accelerate with any good force. It seems to limit the speed and acceleration, and I figure that is caused by either a lack of fuel or a lack of oxygen. But either way, we narrowed it down and figured in the oxygen piece. There's really only two components that could cause that. For the oxygen side, it's either the throttle body or there's an air intake control valve, electronic control valve. So we're going to do the throttle body today. So after removing the battery accessory cover, which sat right here, now we're going to disconnect this air intake tube right here. First thing we've got to do is remove this guy right here and then unscrew the screw here. There's also one way down there, and that'll be the challenging part. So click back on the red piece, push down on the black tab, and pull out. And then one of two ways you can do this. It's an 8mm ratchet or a flathead screwdriver, whichever your preference is. For the one down below, you're going to need the 8mm socket, so I would suggest going ahead and getting that 8mm socket out right now so we can get started on that. And I'm going to gently wiggle this back until it comes off. So this radiator hose is in the way of a lot of what we're going to be doing today. So my recommendation is to move it out of the way without disconnecting it. So here's how I did it. And different people may have different ideas. You can get a rope and rope it off and pull it back. So the first step is I'm going to switch the angle of these two right here. There we go. Once we've got those switched, then I'm actually going to use this as a clamp to hold this back. So I'm going to pull the radiator hose over here and bring this down like that, and that'll hold it out of the way for me. Show you how we're going to get off the bottom side. This is going to be the hardest part of the whole thing. Okay, so now we're looking down into where this intake tube comes in. So you can see that there is right here where my finger is. This is the retaining clamp, and there's the screw right there. It's going to be really hard for me to get at that. So on mine, we're going to use the 8mm socket here with the ratchet with the angle adapter. So let's go ahead and get started on this guy. Okay. Now that we've got that sucker released, we can start to work it out. Now, there's a spot here on the back side, so let me show you folks. Right here where this wire connects to the hose, so before we start yanking the whole thing out, I'm going to work this piece off, just wiggle it back and forth until it finally comes out. And it may take some patience and some force, but it will come off. There it goes, and there. So it came off there. And then this piece just pulls away. Good, so now we can see the throttle body. Here, to replace the throttle body, it's pretty easy. Here, let me move this wire out of the way. So up here is a bolt for a bracket. So this bracket comes in here. So this bracket, which screws in right here, connects via two bolts, one here, one down here, and then there's two more bolts, one here and one here. Before we can take any of those off, we need to disconnect this power accessory here. So we're going to grab this guy, push down on the tab on the top, and there's another one on the bottom side, so you got to grab both of them. Squeeze them together while wiggling, and there it comes. So now that we've got that out of the way, we can take apart the 4 bolts. 1, 2, 3, and there's one down here that you can't see, 4. So we're going to take those off, and those are 10mm bolts. Be right back. Okay, so we're ready to take off these 10mm bolts here. Let's start with the ones on the clamp here. The last step here is to undo this bracket bolt right here. Once the bracket releases, this whole thing will probably fall away. It's a 13mm socket here, so we'll go ahead and get started on that. Okay, so there's the bracket piece. And unless I'm mistaken, this part should just pull away. There we go. Here's the old and the new side by side. I think one of the interesting things that I noticed on this one is, you know, some of the buildup here, especially when you flip it over. You can see there's quite a bit. There's some, it looks like some oil and some buildup here. And we want to see, you know, how is the flapping function on it? Does it freely... There you go. It seems like it can... This one's a lot better. This one, it seems like it was getting bound up here at the bottom sometimes. Right there. It won't go. Depending on how the gravity was hitting it, it wouldn't go. So that might have been my problem right there. So whether it was or wasn't, either way, I didn't want to take any chances, so we're going to go ahead and put in the new one. And then not much later, we got it back on. Just reverse the process or watch my video in reverse to figure that out. So as you can see, the assembly was pretty easy. We reversed the process to get it back on. I've actually had a chance to drive it around for a full day, and we're not throwing any more fault codes, which is a good start. The last piece of this, though, I want to show you folks how to reset the ECU. It's a simple procedure, and for that we'll go inside the car. Resetting the ECU is pretty simple. We can do it right here from the driver's seat. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to put the key in the ignition and turn it to the on position without actually starting the car. And we need to wait until the ECU light, which is this one right here, goes out. Wait for it. There. Then we're going to push down on the accelerator pedal. We're going to do it very slowly so that the duration of the depress is 15 seconds and the duration of the release is 15 seconds. So here we go. And back up. And there we go. And with that, we've just reset the ECU. If you found this video helpful, please hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe. Thank you very much and see you again next time.